Hello y'all, and welcome to YoungFolk Knits. Let's chat a little bit about what all I've been up to lately. Hello y'all, and welcome back to YoungFolk Knits. My name is Casey, and on this channel I mainly like to share all about my love of fiber arts. So there's mainly a lot of knitting, but sometimes there's a little bit of spinning and some crochet. Some sewing is definitely thrown in here a lot. And also sometimes I share a little bit about living on a small farm here in Arkansas where my husband, myself, and our children are beekeepers. We love raising gardens and chickens and animals and spending time outdoors here in the foothills of the Ozarks. So if any of that sounds like something that might be your cup of tea, then make sure and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new video content. I feel like I have got just a slew of things I need to work on this coming week. My dad is slowly but surely making improvements, and we are so proud of him. My mom, my brother, they're absolutely amazing. And I feel like both my dad and myself are extremely fortunate to have my mom and my brother in our lives. They are amazing. So thank you all so much for the well wishes and the kind comments that you have left. It means a lot, and I've shared some of them with my dad. So on to the making. This week, oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start mentally. So I thought I would share a little bit about what I am hoping to accomplish this week while I get a little bit of spinning in. If you have been following along here for a little bit, then you know that myself and Ashley from Design by So and So here on YouTube and on Instagram, we are co-hosting a knit along that is called I Can Buy Myself Flowers Cowl. So to participate in this, all you need to do is to just choose any one of the pressed flowers patterns by Amy Christoffers and post a picture to Instagram using the hashtag I Can Buy Myself Flowers Cowl. So I have a shawl, the pressed flower shawl that is, you know, it's been a languishing WIP for a long little bit, a long while now. And I have gotten that back out, and I have been working on finishing that back up for the knit along. But I also have desperately wanted to cast on the pressed flowers cardigan. And I actually got some yarn from Rhinebeck. I got some at the Primrose Yarn Co. booth, I hope I said that correctly. And it is a sport weight base that just feels really lovely. I think it's merino wool. But I wanted to spin my contrast color for the cardigan. So I have been working on getting that ready, and it is this gorgeous colorway. It's really, really special colorway in my opinion. And it is called Cinder and Smoke by 316 Dye Studio. So I've got 3 braids of this, and it is a blend of alpaca, merino, camel, and silk. So I am going to pretty much do a fractal spin on this and just try to get a nice blend of the colors. I don't want anything too stripy, but the way this is dyed, I really don't foresee that being the case. I'm really excited. I just really want to get this off the wheel because I've been seeing quite a few hand spun yarn in some of the pressed flowers patterns. One of them is Airy Knits here on YouTube. She has almost finished her cardigan. Well, last time I watched her video, she had not got sleeves, but the body was pretty much done. And she's using hand spun for her contrast color, and it looks so good. And Taji from Tangles and Starlights, she had started hers before the knit along, but she's using hand spun, and I'm just so jealous, and I really wanted to start knitting my cardigan, but first I have to get some yarn. So I'm trying really hard to get this spun up. It's just been crazy, and I've had zero spinning time whatsoever. One of the things that I was really working hard on finishing up was my test knit for Andrea Mowry, and that is done, but it's not going to be released for a few months now. The other thing I was really working on finishing up is a test knit for Maxim Steer, who is Max the Knitter on Instagram, and it is called the Plump It Up Shawl, and it's so much fun. So it was an extremely fast knit because it's knit with bulky weight yarn, and I did finish that up. However, one thing I need to do today is block it because it's been sitting there done for days, and I really need to get that blocked and take some pictures of it because it was already released, and with everything going on with my dad, I just was not able to block it or get pictures or anything, but I did finish the shawl and I was able to send my numbers in, so that made me happy. I also really need to get some progress done on knitting my Noro sweater for Alicia Plummer, which is a test knit. I'm not sure what the name of that sweater is going to be yet, but it is absolutely fabulous raglan. And so far, you know, my very first experience with the Noro yarn has gone really well. I am using Noro Madara, and I think that base is a really special one. So I'm going to, you know, work on all of that stuff, and then we'll chat a little bit more in the next few days about how everything's going. But right now, I'm gonna work on a little bit of spinning. actually just got out of the shower, so I do have wet hair and it's kind of in that in-between state because I thought, oh, I'm going to straighten my hair today. And I got about, I don't know, a quarter of the way into trying to blow dry and straighten it, and I gave up. So, sorry about that. So, a little update on my making. Yesterday, I tried really hard to get some progress done on my spinning, and I have 1/4 of my braid left to do. This is it right here. So, I found that this blend is a little bit more difficult to get a consistent draft on, and sometimes it sort of sticks together, almost feels like there's little pieces that are felted together. I don't think they're felted. I think it's just that this blend of fiber tends to do that with me in my experience, my limited experience. I've only been spinning for, I don't know, a little over a year and a bit. I have a limited experience, but in my limited experience, I have noticed that blends of fiber like this tend to have a little bit more resistance when drafting. So I did a fractal on this, and the first split I did on this braid was to tear it in half, and I spun that whole half end to end. Then on a different bobbin, I split this half in half, and I spun that end to end, and I may split this last quarter again into 2 strips and spin that end to end. So if possible, I highly recommend the smaller, thinner strips, even more than pre-drafting, because I tried the pre-drafting, and even so, that was by far the easiest way to spin this consistently. So I'm almost done with that. I'm going to finish this last quarter of the braid up today, and I will let my 2 bobbins rest. This is my first bobbin, and if I was going to be a really good spinner, what I would do, and what you should always do, in my opinion, is spin up your entire fiber supply and have all the bobbins there and numbered. The first bobbin you spun through the last bobbin you spun. So for me, that would be 6 bobbins, because I would have 3 braids that I divide in half each one. So then when it's time to ply, you have all of your bobbins labeled. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what you're going to do for the most consistent yarn that you will have the most consistent you can get for the entire sweater or project is bobbins 1 and 6 are plied together, bobbins 2 and 5, and bobbins 3 and 4. And that is going to give you the most consistent yarn and gauge throughout your project. However, I'm very anxious to cast on my cardigan, and I don't know, it will take me a while to spin through all of this. So I'm very tempted to just go ahead and ply it up braid by braid, which I don't know. I'm not getting the most consistent singles with this anyway. It's getting better. And see, that's my point. It's getting better, so it's going to continue to get better with each bobbin, and that's why you should apply the first and the last and move inwards. But will I do that? I don't know. I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. Okay. So what else have I been up to? I do have a finished object. I've had this finished object for, I don't know, a week or so, and I had not blocked it. It's just been a really crazy 2 weeks almost. But I can now show you my Plump It Up shawl, which was a test for Max Sear or Max the Knitter. And it is still wet. It did not dry all the way, even though it's been over a day. I need to put like 3 fans on it. It's pretty thick though. So this is a shawl that is knit with 2 different yarns. First of all, you have the spincycle Plump, which is a bulky weight yarn, as your main color. So that's this really colorful bits. And then you have a really fluffy yarn here, and that is the Fluff, is what it's called, the Fluff. And it is a yarn by Les Garçons, which is actually co-owned by Max the knitter and Vincent. And you hold the fluff base double. So it's a sport weight yarn with yak, merino, and silk. And you're holding it doubled to get that bulky weight gauge. So it's really beautiful. It's so warm feeling. I tried it on before I blocked it, and it was just, it felt really nice. There's no itch to it whatsoever. It's just lovely. It's also a very quick knit because you're using, you know, bulky weight gauge. So, hey, knits up quick. So you have the first half, which you're using more of the fluffy base. You also have I-cord edges, and so it's very neat. And then whenever you get to the center, you're switching so that you are now using more of the spincycle or the other bulky weight yarn that you're, whatever you choose to use. So his goal was actually to come up with a pattern that uses 2 balls of spincycle and 2 balls of the fluff. I did not use all of my fluff. In fact, I still had quite a bit left over. I did use all of my spincycle, and it got me all the way to right here. So this very last tip, I ended up having to pull out some spincycle dyed in the wool that I had, which is a sport weight, and I held it double to get the same gauge as the Plump. And that's what this little tip is right here. So it didn't quite get me there, but that's okay. I had some leftovers. It was very close, and I feel like I'm such a loose knitter. I think that if you're a tight knitter, you would be okay. But because I'm such a loose knitter, I did use up some more yarn. And I think that's interesting. You know, I heard Andrea Mowry talking about that on one of her episodes. And I think she was like, oh, I'm going to have to think about this for a minute. But, you know, whenever you have a specific number of stitches, then if you are a looser knitter, you are going to use up more yarn in those specific amount of stitches. If you're knitting to a certain length, I think that you could actually use less yarn because it's not necessarily a certain amount of stitches. Instead, it's a certain length of fabric, and you're going to get to that quicker because your gauge is bigger. So it's really interesting to me how that it's very dependent on which of those two. This was not a case of knit to a certain length. This was a case of knit to a certain amount of stitches and knit, you know, you had to complete all of the rows. So in that case, my bigger gauge used more yarn, and I needed to get some extra. If it was a case of, you know, knit till 30 inches, then it might have gone the other way. Anyway, I really, really like this, and maybe I'll be wearing it on the next episode. I think that, oh, I used Ghost Ranch as my spincycle Plump color, and then I used Officer as my Les Garçons fluff color. And I think it was, you know, maybe a little unexpected to pair these two together, but I am a huge earthy neutral lover, and so it's hard for me to use anything else, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. I would pair them together again. I love it. I think that Officer is a really nice earthy color, and it sort of grounds the wildness spincycle, which I love. I'm here for the wildness. I'm here. I'm just saying. I have also been working a little bit on my Noro sweater test knit for Alicia Plummer. And this is what I got so far. Major progress, I know. But I've had a lot going on, so I think that this is going to be a quick knit. I'm loving it. It's going to be super fun. So let me talk a little bit about what I am knitting this with. So Alicia used Noro Silk Garden in her sample, and that yarn base does have mohair in it, and I cannot use mohair. So I really wasn't sure what I was going to use. I was kind of looking through my stash. I don't actually have a ton of worsted weight yarns. I have a lot of DK, but worsted, the few that I have are dedicated to projects that I want to make, absolutely, and I bought specifically to pair with other yarns for a specific project, and so I didn't want to break up those sweater quantities. So I decided to try out the Noro Madara base, and let me just tell y'all, it is amazing. So this is a base with wool. I think it's merino wool, but it's wool, alpaca, and silk, and there's not a scratchy bit in here. In fact, it's just silky. It's so lovely. It's a singles base. I did confirm it is a singles base. And it reminds me so much of hand spun. You've got a lot of thick and thin in here, but it's a lovely balanced yarn. There's absolutely no turning or leaning of the stitches. It's a beautifully balanced yarn. It feels very nice. And my favorite part about this, so this is color 22, I believe, but let me show y'all the color depth. It looks very tweedy. Look at these delicious chocolatey red, velvety red pieces. There's also some stunning green bits. Let me see. There's like some greenish blue pieces in here. I've never been so obsessed. I love it so much. And it's so incredibly soft. Now, I do think that this is a little bit heavier yarn than the Silk Garden. They're both classified as the medium 4 weight, but I would say this is Aran at least. And I think that the Silk Garden is more of a worsted, but it's working. It might not be the drapiest fabric, but I think with blocking, that's going to work out well. So the gauge for this is 18 stitches, and I have actually got 17 and a half, but I think it's okay. If I went down another needle size, I would not be okay with the fabric. It would just be too stiff. So I really, really love this. And I am using my Sable & Stone stitch markers, which I bought, I don't know, a year ago maybe, and I love them. They're so beautiful. And this is my progress keeper. So this is what I did in one day, which is not that much, but I really didn't have much knitting time. So I'm now going to move my progress keeper and put it here so that the next time we chat, you can see exactly how much I've done since today. All right, so I'm just going to keep working on this, and I'm holding it in my bag that Mega made for me from Skeins of Dreams. I love it. What else? Okay, there's 2 things that I'm going to be casting on. First of all, I did share this in one of my winter making plans videos, but I am going to be knitting the Artist Shawl, which is a pattern by Natasha Hornby. And this is an all over mosaic, beautiful colorwork shawl. It's just got some gorgeous geometric patterns in it. I think it's very striking, and I just really, really, really like it. I loved it. You know, I think we all loved it the second we saw it. But Mia from Knit and Grace and Haley from Knit Weekend both wanted to knit it together. And Taji from Tangles and Starlights joined in. So then Mega from Skeins of Dreams, she has decided to knit it as well. She's going to cast on with us today too. And do I have any business casting on another shawl? No, I do not. But those girls are very tempting. So I am actually going to wind this up and we are all casting it on today. I did find out that Natasha Hornby is actually running a knit along for this shawl, which starts January 1st. So I don't know if she's allowing whips or not, because we're going ahead and cast it on now. But I think that's awesome. If she does allow whips, then I will definitely be joining that knit along. So these are my colors. I am doing the same color palette that was the original. I guess I'm feeling uninspired on picking out new colors lately because I'm doing a lot of original colors. But I loved what she did. I thought she was genius in her color palette, and these are my colors, so I don't feel bad about going with the original colors at all. I am using a different yarn. So the pattern calls for Lichen and Lace, a sport weight singles base yarn. That singles base always seem to just eat up that color. It's deliciously saturated, and the colors on that yarn base look absolutely beautiful. I have been told by multiple people that it is an extremely rustic base and maybe similar to Aztec's Let Lopi. I cannot use that yarn, so I have never touched the Lichen and Lace or seen it in person. But Haley from the Knit Weekend, she is using that base and she has received her yarn, so I need to ask her what it actually feels like. Instead, I am going with this lovely, whoops, I'm losing it. So instead, I'm going with this Sonder Sunday Morning 4-ply, which is a fingering. It's not a sport weight, but it blooms absolutely beautifully, and I'm a loose knitter anyway. I love a fingering weight shawl. It is more wearable for me, so I think this is the way to go for me. And this is 432 yards for 100 grams, and it is, of course, a BFL Masham mix. 75% BFL, 25% Masham, and I love it. It's got a lovely gray base that really gives some beautiful colors. So I need to wind these up today because we're casting it on today, and maybe next week I'll have some progress to show you. I'm not putting myself on a timeline for this shawl. They'll probably crank it out super fast, but I am going to sort of knit on it as I can. I definitely need to finish my sweater test knit for Alicia, and it's going great. It's actually a quick knit. I've gotten to spend very little time knitting on it, and it's already moving along pretty well. So I'm excited to finish that up. Okay, other thing is something I got during Black Friday sale, and it is a yarn I have never used before at all. I'm not sure what happened. I think I got some serious FOMO seeing all these pictures, but I ended up ordering some knit collage yarn in a kit for the Kaleidoscope sweater. So this is a, what is this, super bulky, or is it even bigger than super bulky? This is a 200 gram skein, and it has 100 yards in it, and it's 100% wool. It's really lovely color. I absolutely love this. They had all different colors and different kits on sale for Black Friday, and I saw the Kaleidoscope pattern, and I actually really liked the original colors, but when I saw this color, there was no going back. So this is the color Sedona, which I love because I actually really love visiting Sedona. My whole childhood and young adult life, I have traveled there with my family, and my dad has absolutely loved spending time in the Red Rocks there in Sedona. We have probably went on every trail that there is to go on, it feels like. And it's a very cool, eclectic, and beautiful spot to visit. We love Sedona. So I thought that was cool. This is named Sedona. And then you get 2 packs with it for your contrast color stripes. And this is what came with it. It looks like there's some of that same base. Yeah, spun cloud. Just hoping that, making sure none of it comes with mohair. Or I better not be touching it. I don't see any of these with mohair in it so far, but I will look. And then there's also a couple of fabric strips. So this with this, I got 3 of these. And you knit this on like a US 17. So what is that? Ooh, what millimeter is that? Anyway, that's a big gauge. It should knit up very quickly. I may end up making this as a gift. I'm not sure if it's something I would wear a lot, but I love the color so much. It might be. I have a lot of other yarns that I could easily knit some things up for my daughter. So I was kind of thinking about possibly knitting this up for her. I've knit her so many sweaters though. And I don't know if this yarn is a little bit, I feel like this yarn is not something that I could throw in the washing machine. You know, this is not yarn that I could easily clean. So I don't know if this is something I want to use for a child or not. It may be for me. We'll see. Or a gift for an adult. We'll see. I really like it though. So my goal for this week is to have completely finished this braid of fiber, which is actually my goal for today. And then this week I want to let it rest for a day, and then I want to ply it up and cast on my cardigan. I also want to cast on my shawl today, and I want to make as much progress on my sweater as I can. So that's my goals for this week. When I see y'all next, hopefully I will really have made some great progress. So I have already shown you some of the bags that beautiful sister donated for the I Can Buy Myself Flowers Knit Along. And I just received the stitch markers from Stable and Stone for the winner as well. And she also very kindly included some for me, which I think is so sweet. I love Stable and Stone stitch markers. I order them myself because I think they're so beautiful. But I want to show you some. Look at this. Okay, I think that the winner is going to absolutely love these. Aren't they stunning? And look at the flowers. Let me show you. Aren't these gorgeous? I really want to put these on my pressed flowers cardigan. I think they're so pretty. So don't forget that if you want to join in the I Can Buy Myself Flowers Cowl with Ashley from Design by So and So and myself, all you need to do is to post a picture on Instagram and use the hashtag I Can Buy Myself Flowers KAL, and you're entered. Don't forget, whips are welcome, and we are gonna be knitting along until the last day of January. So y'all have time to pick out any of those patterns and join in on the fun. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoy videos like this, then make sure and give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss out on any new video content, and it really helps my channel out so much. I appreciate every comment and note that y'all leave for me. I could not keep doing this if it weren't for your support, so thank you very much for being here. Until next time, happy knitting, y'all.